Part 33. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 321. Boom. The power of the immortal realm expert came towards him instantly, as if he was going to kill Xiao Tianyun on the spot. I saw a golden light flickering on his body, and the pressure disappeared. Xiao Tianyun looked at him with an indifferent expression. He has done many evil things, including killing his father and his brother. To depose him is to open up a wide range of things. The immortal was furious. You bastard! You obviously want his life. Xiao Tianyun's expression turned stern, but he saw that Mo Chan had already lost his vitality. Looking at the pretentious faces of the two of them, he immediately knew everything. You don't even bother to pretend, I'm just a quasi-immortal, no matter how hard I strike. There is absolutely no chance of death, but in your hands, the person died. What a sharp-tongued person. Today I will clean up the family's affairs. Let's see who dares to stop me. After saying this, the immortal stopped talking nonsense and walked towards Xiao Tianyun. The body rose into the air, and with a single point of his finger, a terrifying power suppressed him. This blow shocked countless people. They knew very well whose hands Mo Chan really died. But in the face of such a terrifying strong man, no one dares to risk his life to make a point. The terrifying power that the Mo family erupted attracted surrounding forces to continuously gather around them. Why is the supreme elder of the Mo family so angry? He actually killed a junior. I heard that this man is the reincarnation of the genius of the Mo family. He came here to seek revenge and killed Mo Chan. That's a good thing. Mo Chan has done many evil things, and many innocent people have been killed by him. This move is to eliminate harm for the people. What do you know? Mo Chan was slapped to death by those two supreme elders. What? Aren't they Mo Chan's supporters? If they were really killed, how could they be so indignant and want to avenge him? You shouldn't look at people by their appearance. Will you still maintain an item that has no use value? Someone told the whole story of the incident, and everyone became furious when they heard the words. This Mo Chan deserves it, but it's a pity that he died too lightly. He really should have been treated more like this. Just now he was worthy of his dead father and brother. And the innocent people he murdered. Who says it's not the case? The two supreme elders of the Mo family saved him in disguise. It's a pity that Xiao Tianyun will die here today, and even have his body taken away from him. Even if Xiao Xian's combat power is off the charts, it is impossible for him to reach out to the continent of the heavens. What a pity. Xiao Tianyun is a rare genius, no matter whether he is placed in the Xiao family or among all the heavens. For a time, countless people couldn't help but sigh and shake their heads. In the realm of two immortals, Xiao Tianyun has no possibility of defeating him. But at this moment, Xiao Tianyun looked extremely calm as he watched the two supreme elders of the Mo family coming towards him. I saw a golden light flashing in the sky, as if there was a boundless sword intent sweeping across the sky. The roaring sword energy made countless people look sideways, and then, a sword force penetrated the galaxy and swept across. With just one sword move, the two men's killing moves were dispersed, and everyone couldn't help but gasp when they saw this. A long golden sword stood high in the sky, and the sword exuded terrifying power. It's like the arrival of a sword god, which makes people feel in awe. The sword light dissipated, and a figure in white gradually appeared in front of him. I saw him standing with his hands behind his back, his eyebrows lowered, and his indifferent expression as if he looked down on life and death in the world. When everyone saw this, they couldn't help but praise secretly in their hearts. The two supreme elders of the Mo family were shocked at first, and then breathed a sigh of relief. If Xiao Xian's real body was here, they might still be afraid, but a clone would not be scary at all. He glanced at the other party lightly, said nothing, and took action directly. Can even a clone stop me? Huh, die. The head of the Xiao family, Xiao Xian, is so terrifying in combat. He can beat an immortal with just one finger and be unable to fight back. And after the monster died, a formation blessed the entire forest. This is the terror of the powerful in the earthly immortal realm. The spiritual energy all over the sky condensed, turned into a sword energy and shot out, falling behind his body. In other words, Xiao Xian, who defeated the supreme elder of the Mo family with one finger, is a clone with only quasi-immortal cultivation. This scene shocked countless people, and defeated an immortal with just one finger. How did he do it? It gave me the feeling that he was as powerful as an earthly immortal. A loud noise was heard, and the Supreme Elder was hit by a huge gravity. The body was dragged backwards on the ground, even though it was protected by a defensive shield. Everyone looked up at the sky in disbelief, and saw Xiao Xian coming through the air, a domineering aura that showed no anger and self-power erupted. The next moment, he leaped up, concentrated a punch, and the fist intent exploded all over his body. With unstoppable power, he came towards the Supreme Elder. At the moment when Xiao Xian's clone collapsed, the sword formation above the sky also disappeared. Seeing this, the Supreme Elder of the Mo family suddenly sneered. After hearing these words, everyone was silent. He headed towards Xiao Tianyun with terrifying fist power. At this moment, Xiao Xian's clone pointed a finger. Hearing Xiao Xian's words, everyone couldn't help but gasp. As soon as this statement came out, countless people immediately echoed. A long blood mark was also dragged out on the ground, and the original appearance of the immortal spirit became dilapidated at this moment. Xiao Xian, another supreme elder, roared angrily, and then shot his clone away. Just when the killing move was heading towards Xiao Tianyun, a sword light swept across the sky. Hasn't Master Xiao already broken through to the earthly immortal realm? Why does the aura exuding from this person give me the feeling of a quasi-immortal? Sure enough, the more powerful a cultivator is, the more ordinary his spirit will be. Then, in the eyes of countless people who couldn't believe it, that sword directly broke the Supreme Elder's killing move. In a scene that shocked countless people, a terrifying sword energy swept across the starry sky and wreaked havoc. But Xiao Xian's figure still stood motionless in the sky. They didn't expect that the Xiao Xian clone that appeared at this moment was actually a quasi-immortal. As far as I know, the head of the Xiao family was only in the quasi-immortal realm at that time. What this person said shocked everyone. The cold voice echoed in the sky and everyone's eardrums. You dare to kill my descendants of the Xiao family, you Mo family, it seems you are tired of living. What, he is the legendary head of the Xiao family. If I didn't tell him, I would have thought he was just an ordinary person. It seems that the monster in the forest a few years ago was killed by the Xiao family master. Humph, even a clone dares to do tricks in front of us. You are not overestimating your own abilities. The immortal's voice roared, turning into rolling thunder, and bursts of roaring shook the eardrums. Now let's see who dares to save you. Junior, just die. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 322. They didn't expect that Xiao Xian's true body would appear here and be so murderous, not giving the Mo family any face. Xiao Xian, you are a cultivator in the earthly immortal realm, but you have the nerve to intervene in the war between immortal realms. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at by the world? The Supreme Elder of the Mo family was not frightened when he saw this, and even taunted him. Xiao Xian looked at him with a sneer. When do I, the head of the family, care about what the world thinks when I do something? His words were full of indifference, and he didn't take the Mo family seriously at all. At this moment, he completely angered the two Supreme Elders of the Mo family. Xiao Xian, don't bully others too much. The heavens have already clearly stipulated that the immortal realm is not allowed to participate in the battle between immortals. You have caused sabotage many times today. You really think that our Mo family is easy to bully? Xiao Xian raised his eyebrows. It's true. As soon as these words came out, the Supreme Elder suddenly became furious, but he could not do anything to him. The other Supreme Elder, who was severely injured, stood up slowly at this moment, looking at Xiao Xian with a hint of coldness in his eyes. There have been rumors in the heavens for a long time that the head of the Xiao family has thunderous methods, and he even hates those who commit crimes. There is something I want to ask you for advice today. I wonder if the Xiao family master would be willing to answer it? Xiao Xian's cold voice came. I don't want to. The Supreme Elder's expression changed, and he spoke again without waiting for Xiao Xian to speak. As we all know, Xiao Tianyun is the nephew of the head of the Xiao family, but the people who came to the Mo family today. But it was a young man named Mo Tianyun. Logically speaking, the genius of the Mo family came to recognize his ancestor and return to the clan. As long as no heinous crime was committed, the Mahists would be absolutely tolerant, but the mistake was. Mo Tianyun slaughtered his biological uncle out of impulsiveness. This was a treasonous act. As the Supreme Elder of the Mo family, and even more so the Elder of Mo Tianyun, I am supposed to clean up the family. But the Xiao family leader intervened to stop him. I wonder if the Xiao family leader is saving Mo Tianyun or Xiao Tianyun. If it was Xiao Tianyun, the descendants of the Xiao family relied on their superior strength to come to the Mo family to kill the patriarch. As the elder of the Mo clan, I should avenge the clan leader. Could it be that the Xiao family master wants to use his own realm to suppress us? The words of this supreme elder made everyone grit their teeth, but they were unable to refute. In the Mo family, this is a private matter of the Mo family. If Xiao Xian wants to take care of it, it is like a dog trying to catch a mouse. In the Xiao family, Xiao Tianyun's hands were stained with the blood of the head of the Mo family, so he should pay for it with his life. No matter how Xiao Xian answers, he will always be at the forefront of the storm. Seeing this, Xiao Xian's expression remained unchanged and indifferent. Listening to your words is better than 10 years of reading. As an elder of the Mo clan, you framed the clan leader, killed the clan leader, and caused trouble. As Xiao Tianyun's uncle and Mo Tianyun's master, I must ask for it back on his behalf after he was wronged today. Just when the Supreme Elder was still quibbling, a picture appeared in front of everyone in the sky. It was the scene where he killed Mo Chan. As soon as the scene appeared, everyone fell silent. The Mahist disciples showed deep hatred and even cursed at them. I didn't expect you to be such a person. It's really disgusting, disrespectful and unkind to the elderly. The Mo family is really unlucky to have someone like you as the Supreme Elder. For a while, angry curses sounded one after another. When the Supreme Elder saw this, he became angry from shame, and then he rose into the air and killed Xiao Xian. Terrible power rioted in the sky, and the unparalleled arrogance shook the stars. Another Supreme Elder saw this. He also burst out with his own terrifying momentum and attacked Xiao Xian. Facing this blow, Xiao Xian looked calm and pointed his finger. An ant dares to fight against the sky. Below, the sword in the hand of a Mahist disciple trembled slightly, and then rose into the air. The sword was unsheathed, and there was a sound in the clear sky, piercing everyone's eyes. A flash of sword light directly forced the two of them back. Then he pointed out with the sword, "If you can take this sword, my master will spare your life." When the other party heard this, his expression turned extremely ugly, but Xiao Xian didn't care so much. Above the void, a sword light penetrated the galaxy, rushed into the sky, and cut through the sky to come towards you. We also ask Han, the head of the Xiao family, to forgive us, and the Mo family will also give an explanation to the Xiao family. If he is allowed to continue to grow, he might be able to recreate the myth he once was. After all, Xiao Tianyun is his nephew. Regardless of his status, there is reason to forgive him. When the two saw this, their expressions changed drastically, and they shouted, "Hurry up and form a formation." He was bleeding profusely from his mouth, his face was pale, his clothes were ragged, and he looked defeated. As soon as his words came out, there was a sudden silence all around, obviously not expecting that the other party would admit his mistake. At this moment, he looked at Xiao Xian with a hint of appreciation. Looking at the appearance of the two supreme elders, the black mist gradually condensed into substance. But the person who caused all this stood tall in the sky with a calm expression. Instead of wasting such a good container, it would be better to let it become your new body. For a time, countless people's eyes were on Xiao Xian, and they didn't know what he would plan. Everyone fell into silence. Xiao Xian's terror broke everyone's understanding. On the tattered clothes, you can vaguely see the sword energy raging continuously. Now that the person above has spoken, he must be eliminated completely. It transformed into a man wearing a black robe, but his face could not be seen clearly. I have to say, that reincarnation is indeed amazing. The blood on their bodies continued to drop, and even if the two of them tried to support themselves, they could not hide the fact that the sword intent in their bodies was constantly destroying their skills. This moment, everyone's hearts were trembling. They couldn't imagine how terrifying the fighting power of the cultivators in the earthly immortal realm was under a full blow. The two supreme elders covered their chests, their pupils showing signs of blurring. Seeing this, Xiao Xian immediately understood why Mo Chan was surrounded by demonic energy. Then he took a step forward. Master Xiao is so powerful that we, the Mo family, must admit defeat. Regarding this matter, their bodies were severely injured by this sword, and their internal organs felt dislocated pain. A hint of sword intent had already burst out, and Xiao Xian's cold voice made the two supreme elders tremble. The sword energy passed by, causing a boundless sword tide, which shocked countless people. The next moment, the bodies of the two supreme elders fell heavily to the ground. In the direction of the mountain behind the Mo family, a black shadow was slowly rising and landing opposite Xiao Xian. Looking at the demon cultivator in front of him, Xiao Xian looked indifferent. "What, you want to fight with me? Even if you use magic weapons and elixirs to support your life, you won't be able to live long." The two sides collided together, the sky fell and the earth collapsed, smoke was everywhere, and most of the buildings in the Mo family collapsed at this moment. At this moment, they gritted their teeth and gathered their formations to resist the blow. A demon cultivator in the middle stage of the earthly immortal realm is here. Even a normal person would be possessed by the demon, let alone Mo Chan. A huge mushroom cloud rose into the sky and filled everyone's eyes. At this time, they are unable to move. Once they use their skills, their bodies will explode and die. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 323. Xiao Xian sneered, "If the head of the family hadn't come in person, I'm afraid my nephew would have died here." As soon as these words came out, the two supreme elders of the Mo family were shocked. One of them even yelled angrily, "We have already apologized, what else do you want? Besides, Xiao Tianyun is not dead." Xiao Xian sneered when he heard this. "According to you, I should be grateful to you." The two of them looked at Xiao Xian's indifferent face and immediately fell silent. They have already experienced how powerful he is, but being soft is the bottom line. As long as the Mo family is left here, there will be a day for a comeback. A hint of humiliation flashed in the eyes of the two of them. "Then what do you want?" Looking at the other party deeply, Xiao Xian slowly said, "Mo family. Excessive, the two of them were so angry that they didn't care about their injuries and pointed angrily. Seeing this, Xiao Xian didn't say anything, he just pointed his finger. An ultimate sword light swept across the sky, penetrated the galaxy, and traversed the eternal starry sky. The two supreme elders of the Mo family were shocked, and then they shouted towards the sky. "Cultivator, if you are willing to help us kill Xiao Xian, we are willing to work hard for you." As soon as these words came out, the demon cultivator couldn't help but feel happy. The Mo family was a long-established quasi-immortal family in Zushan continent. With huge public support, he has only been here for half a year. Not only has his cultivation level increased greatly, but his combat effectiveness has also become more terrifying. If the Mahist family were to have a base and there were people to preach on their behalf, the road to spiritual practice would become smoother. "I want to kill Xiao Xian, but you can't live either." Then, before the two of them could react, two wisps of black smoke instantly wrapped around their throats. In just one breath, their vitality was completely swallowed up. "I originally wanted to use Mo-chan's hand to devour the cultivation of other cultivators for my own use, but I never thought that I would turn out to be a waste." The demon cultivator opened his mouth lightly and pointed his finger, and a wisp of demonic smoke slowly rose from Mo-chan's body. Finally it fell into his hands, and Mo-chan's body turned into ashes and disappeared at this moment. This scene aroused the horror of countless people. They never thought that Mo-chan would lead the devil into the cultivation house to help him practice, but in the end he would end up with nothing. This is the consequences of reaping the consequences. People don't have to be kind, but they must never do anything that violates ethics. Now that the Mo family has no strong man in charge, it can be considered a complete defeat. If Xiao Xian can kill this demon cultivator, considering his behavior, it would be a good idea to seek refuge with him. It's a pity that no matter how terrifying Xiao Xian's fighting power is, he can't defeat a cultivator in the middle stage of Earth Immortal. It's a pity. If Mo-chan hadn't been obsessed by the desire for profit, how could so many talented children in the family end up like this? That's right, but things have already happened and they can't be changed no matter what. For a time, countless people were talking, feeling sorry for the Mo family's defeat. Xiao Xian looked at the demon cultivator with a calm expression, and then stopped talking nonsense. Waving the crescent moon sword in his hand, a terrifying power swept across the sky and headed towards the demon cultivator. "Today, the head of the Japanese family will teach you a truth. Villains die from talking too much." Just when the demon cultivator was still stunned, a sword light pierced his chest. Countless sword intentions were raging inside his body, and the heart-gnawing pain made him stare angrily. "You." He looked at Xiao Xian in disbelief, without even a chance to make a move. He died in frustration in front of everyone, and even until his death he couldn't figure out how Xiao Xian acted. "If we fight, we'll fight. If we talk nonsense like that, we're going to die." Xiao Xian slowly regained his momentum and looked at him with cold eyes. Everyone in the heavens was also watching the scene and their eyes widened in surprise. They could still do this. Sure enough, the strong are the strong, and they don't play by the rules. After today, there will be no more Mahists in the continent. Butler Fu, please count the number of people. Those who are willing to join the Xiao family will be given the same treatment as the children of the Xiao family. Then he walked to the Xiao family's residence. Xiao Tianyun's past was over and he could now concentrate on his cultivation. All the high-ranking disciples of the Mo family looked at Xiao Tianyun's figure in disbelief. "I have written it into history so that I can inspire future generations." Xiao Tianyun hurriedly stepped forward to help him, his face full of respect. "Uncle Fu, please get up quickly. If I hadn't helped you so much back then, I wouldn't even have a chance to be reincarnated." Mo Fu is willing to lead the children of the Mo family to surrender to the Xiao family and follow the Xiao family's lead. Is this a strong man? It's really scary. Xiao Tianyun completely woke up after hearing this. From that day on, the Xiao family had a cultivating madman. The people's righteous and stern speeches and firm eyes made Xiao Tianyuan feel like he was once again in the Mo family thousands of years ago. Xiao Xian's cold words echoed in the sky, every present is a past you can't get back in the future. Some choose to join the Xiao family, while others choose to quit and retain a trace of the Mo family's blood. He looked deeply at Xiao Tianyuan, as if he wanted to look through him at the person behind him. Mo family, thank you, Master Tianyuan. After a pause, he took a few steps back and gave Xiao Tianyuan a big salute. If you want to leave, I will not deduct you. Each of you will be rewarded with 300 crystals, and you will be placed in a suitable place. He was hunched over and his eyes were cloudy, but you could see the joy and excitement in them. This warm current instantly surged from the tip of my heart to the tip of my nose, and even my eyes felt like they were about to spurt out. Xiao Tianyuan did not do anything to stop this, and even gave more resources to those disciples who retained the Mahist bloodline. Old slave, meet the second young master. Mo family Mo Fu, thank you Master Xiao for saving your life, and thank you young Master Xiao for saving your life. As long as I, Xiao Tianyuan, stay in the Xiao family for one day, I can protect you from any insult. Then he turned around and left. It was most appropriate for Xiao Tianyuan to handle the Mo family's affairs. Knowing that Xiao Xian's figure had completely disappeared, everyone calmed down. After doing all this, Xiao Xian glanced at Xiao Tianyuan lightly, you will handle the next thing. Mo Fu passed on what Xiao Tianyuan said, and all the disciples of the Mo family were overjoyed when they heard it. I didn't know how to face him for a while, but finally an old man from the Mo family stepped forward to break up the scene. In the following days, Xiao Tianyuan traveled around the Zushan continent and Zushan Wanja to deal with the family's relocation. Xiao Xian stood on the sky, looking at Xiao Tianyuan's lonely back without saying a word. As soon as these words came out, a warm current suddenly flowed through Xiao Tianyuan's heart. The head of the family is also ill-fated, but fortunately you are back and the family can restart with you. Seeing that the plaque of the Mo family was replaced by the word Xiao family, Xiao Tianyuan's concern for the Mo family also dropped. I saw him clenching his hands into fists at shoulder level, and said in a low voice, "Goodbye." Seeing the person in front of him who looked exactly like the previous head of the family, Uncle Fu sighed heavily. Everyone saw it in their eyes and remembered it in their hearts, and kowtowed to Xiao Tianyuan before leaving. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 324. But everyone in the Xiao family knew that this was also a way for Xiao Tianyuan to say goodbye to the past. On this day, a figure in white stood in the sky, standing with hands behind his hands, looking indifferently at the Xiao family residence below. An aura of calmness and self-power radiates from the inside out, and his attitude of looking down on the world shocked countless people. He stretched out his finger and pointed to the Xiao family's residence below. The next moment, a city carrying tens of millions of people disappeared from sight. Finally, in full view of everyone, he headed towards the Zushan continent. Cultivators who enter the immortal realm can not only move objects through the air, but can also leave their souls. You only need to return to your physical body within the specified time to avoid death. This scene attracted the shocked gazes of countless people, and there was even more discussion about it. Is this the power of the earthly immortal realm? You can move a city out of thin air with just a few clicks. Since the last battle, the head of the Xiao family has become more and more terrifying in combat. Now all heavens and all realms is part of the Xiao family's territory. Even in all heavens continent, no one dares to challenge the Xiao family. Firstly, Xiao Xian, the head of the Xiao family, is unrivaled in strength among his peers. Secondly, there are many talented people in the Xiao family. Xiao Qingyuan even controls the output of spiritual oil, and there is no one else in the world. Now the Xiao family has really risen, and there are countless clan forces who want to join them. I heard that several immortal level monsters in the monster forest have surrendered to the Xiao family. As soon as these words came out, everyone clicked their tongues, sighing with emotion and full of fear for the Xiao family. At the same time, there was a problem with the relocation of the Xiao family residence. After the original family residence was moved here, all the spiritual flowers and grass in the family withered. I wouldn't be surprised if they were ordinary flowers, plants, and trees, but these are products of the prehistoric era, not to mention that the aura within the family is enough for them to survive. Even their vitality cannot be destroyed by things in the heavens and continents, let alone completely withered. What's even more surprising is that the tree of life that supports the birth of spiritual energy in the family also shows signs of withering. And it has only been half a month since they moved here. If it goes on for much longer, I am afraid that the spiritual energy of the entire family will dissipate. Even Xiao Xian felt something was wrong about the strange phenomena in the family, so he went to the tree of life to check, and saw faint black smoke floating from the ground. If you don't look carefully, you will miss this trace of black smoke, let alone the rest of the Xiao family who can't see it. Xiao Xian looked at the green and black smoke with cold eyes, and said indifferently, "Since you are here, why don't you show up?" As soon as he said this, the black smoke that was about to be blown away by the wind at any time became more and more misty until it disappeared. When Xiao Xian saw this, a coldness flashed in his eyes, and then he pointed a finger. A loud noise came from the ground, and a puddle of black stuff appeared on the green grass. It was the nasty phlegm vomited by a patient who couldn't afford to get sick. It gave off waves of stench, which made people feel extremely sick. Wherever the black phlegm passes, flowers, plants and trees instantly wither. Even the tree of life exudes a decadent atmosphere under the influence of this stench. The next moment, Xiao Xian swung the waning moon sword in his hand, and under the extreme sword light, Nathan's disgusting black phlegm slowly condensed. It looked like a puddle of flesh and blood with muscles and bones removed, and gradually transformed into a human form before his eyes. "Why are you still so reckless after countless calamities? Didn't that incident have any impact on you at all?" The moment the black figure standing in front of him opened his mouth, he was like a human being whose mouth and tongue had been ripped out. As soon as these words came out, Xiao Xian frowned slightly. Even in the heavens, the people in front of him couldn't find anyone with the same appearance. No, to be precise, they were monsters. The black mist emanating from his body is unique to the Rakshasa clan, but the Rakshasa clan has disappeared long after the death of demon ancestor Rahu. And it was completely imprisoned in place for countless calamities. If you want to come out from there, you must abandon all your cultivation, but it also means death. This person is neither a monster nor a demon, and he has a corrosive ability that even the tree of life cannot resist. It is really incredible. Xiao Xian said nothing, and his cold eyes revealed a hint of murderous intent. The man smiled innocently when he saw this, and then turned into a ball of black phlegm and wrapped Xiao Xian tightly. "How many galactic years have passed, and you still haven't broken through the mystery of the womb and become the first person of the year? Xiao Xian, you used to be the object of fear to everyone, even if a ray of breeze blew by. A being who can kill a saint, how come he can't even break through the mystery in the womb? It's a pity that the person you spent all your time waiting for has now become so miserable." As he spoke, he turned into a human form again. The difference was that he was looking up into the sky. It seemed like I was talking to someone from another world. This scene made the figure in red appear in Xiao Xian's mind. But even though she is so powerful, she cannot go against the existence of heaven. The person in front of me not only told what happened back then, but even revealed his identity without being punished by God. At this moment, Xiao Xian's heart sank, and he was even irritable. This was the first time he felt a sense of powerlessness that was beyond his control. "Quack," then he pointed out, and a brilliant sword light instantly penetrated into his body. Without any resistance, the black shadow disappeared, and even the stench in the air disappeared. Xiao Tianyun looked surprised and quickly took a few steps forward to check, confirming that the tree of life had returned to normal again. Only then did he express the question in his mind, "Uncle Xian, no foreign race has ever entered the family's residence for so many years. Why was this person able to sneak into the family without anyone noticing and destroy everything?" Xiao Xian pulled back his thoughts and a cold voice sounded softly, "This person comes from the ancient times and escaped the last immeasurable calamity." Even though Xiao Tianyun was so calm, he couldn't help but exclaim, "Didn't the prehistoric era fall long ago? Why are there still people from that era appearing in the heavens?" Xiao Xian walked to the side of the tree of life and pointed out, and then a palm-sized piece of black phlegm was uprooted from the ground. The prehistoric era may not have disappeared, but it exists in a parallel world that we cannot see. As soon as these words came out, not only Xiao Tianyun, but also the reincarnated Empress Xiao Qingyun couldn't help but ask questions. According to ancient books, there was a big explosion in the world in the ancient times. After that explosion, the ancient era has completely fallen, and the only remaining people know nothing about what happened back then. Could it be that the explosion in the ancient times was not an explosion in the true sense? Xiao Xian did not answer directly when he heard this, but cleaned the surface of the black phlegm. In the confused eyes of several people, Heitan's true face gradually emerged. "Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors." Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 325. Firefly. It's actually a firefly. Everyone in the Xiao family exclaimed in surprise, never expecting that the existence of the aluminum powder god turned out to be a firefly. Just when everyone was still immersed in the shocked expressions, the firefly instantly turned into a black light and struck towards Xiao Xian's life gate. "Master, be careful. Uncle Xian, be careful." The expressions of everyone in the Xiao family changed drastically, and they exclaimed repeatedly. However, Xiao Xian seemed to have already noticed it, and with a wave of his hand, he dispersed the corrosive black light. Seeing this, everyone rushed forward and asked, "Master, why does this firefly have such terrifying power?" Xiao Xian's face was indifferent, and a cold voice slowly sounded, "Returning to the light, the unique combat ability of the demons can kill the enemy with one unexpected blow." Just when everyone was about to ask, several large golden characters gradually appeared on the sky. "If you want to know the past, use the totem of time and space." Xiao Xian looked at the deed-shaped characters in front of him without saying a word, and the smell of conspiracy came to his face. It seems that those people from the prehistoric period did not really disappear, but continued to survive in a certain time and space, and even observed his every move. Glacier Continent is a must-see. "Uncle Xian, this person is deliberately luring you here, don't be fooled." Xiao Tianyun looked at Xiao Xian anxiously, even though he knew that he could not stop Xiao Xian's decision. No need to say more about this matter, Xiaoxuan's non-negotiable tone interrupted everyone in the Xiao family. Then he turned and left, leaving everyone looking at each other. After the problem of the family's residence was resolved, Xiao Xian moved Wenjian Valley here again. Due to the huge area of the area and the fact that it is located in the center of the forest, the scale of Wenjian Valley has become larger and larger since its relocation. In addition, Xiao Xian also placed the relics left over from the original Heavenly Court era here. Today's Xiao family is one of the few in the entire continent. After handling everything, Xiao Xian took out Meteor's soul, which was temporarily stored under the Tree of Life, and then summoned her over via a secret message. Meteor rushed to Wenjian Valley as soon as she received the news. Now, after Xiao Xian's several pointers, her strength has become more and more terrifying. He is only one step away from becoming an immortal, which was something that was unimaginable in the past. "Sit down." The head of the family. When the meteor appeared, Xiao Xian was practicing in seclusion. When he hesitated several times whether to wake him up, Xiao Xian's voice came. I wonder why the master of the family came to me. Meteor bowed and sat down on his lower left side. Xiao Xian waved his hand, and the scene around them changed instantly. Appearing in front of the tree of life in the blink of an eye, even the current meteor was frightened by Xiao Xian's terror. Then he pointed his finger towards the tree of life, and saw a golden halo slowly appearing. The halo dissipated, revealing the appearance of a young girl. Meteor exclaimed, "This is it." The young girl in front of her was herself. I thought that Xiao Xian had already forgotten this matter, but who would have thought that he would still remember it? Your soul has been riddled with holes under Mo Chan's imprisonment. If it is returned to you, even the previous cultivation will be lost. The tree of life has endless vitality and has excellent restorative effect on your soul. Please try to fuse it. After a quarter of an hour of fusion, Meteor's aura changed dramatically. A misty fairy aura surrounded her, like a butterfly emerging from its cocoon and reborn. In an instant, a boundless majesty shot up into the sky, pierced the eternal sky, and swept across the galaxy, which was awe-inspiring. Thank you, Master. Slowly opening her eyes, a terrifying aura of an immortal burst out from her eyes. Meteor clasped his hands into fists and knelt on one knee, with deep gratitude in his eyes. Xiao Xian not only repaired the damage in her soul, but also allowed her to absorb the soul of the monster for her own use. Now, even if Bai Wujiao and Mo Wujiao use their combined attack skills, they can't defeat her. It is already an invincible existence among its peers. Xiao Xian nodded, and then the two returned to Wenjian Valley again. If nothing happens, just step back. Xiao Xian stood with his hands behind his back facing Meteor. Meteor didn't move, but he made up his mind and said, "Master, I know the location of the space-time totem." The entire Xiao family's senior staff already knew about Xiao Xian's matter. Logically speaking, he should not tell him about it. But even Xiao Tianyun couldn't dissuade him, and even sent him to Jishan World for training, let alone them. As expected, Xiao Xian turned around after hearing these words and took the initiative to ask. "Have you seen the space-time totem?" Xiao Xian's tone was obviously excited. This is the first time Meteor has seen him like this. I'm afraid there's something going on against the head of the family, and that person is a being even more powerful than heaven. If parallel time and space really exists, then the person waiting for him can no longer hold on for long. As soon as these words came out, everyone recalled the whole incident again. This is also the main reason why the space-time totem is there, but no one dares to look for it. Xiao Jianfeng said with a worried face, helplessness written on his wrinkled face. Judging from the behavior of those people, they just want to torture the head of the family severely to weaken his blood. Although the family master's growth rate is beyond the reach of everyone in the world, facing such a terrifying existence is just a matter of raising a hand. In half a year, Xiao Xian has broken through to the middle stage of subsidence, and his combat effectiveness is incomparable. If he continues to practice here, he may not even see that person for the last time. Who among the heavens dares to bully our Xiao family now? The words of several people caused everyone present to fall into silence for an instant. Finally, it was Chopard who pointed out the important factor that they had been ignoring. As soon as these words came out, it was like a stone falling on the calm water, instantly stirring up thousands of waves. In half a month, the head of our family will go to the glacier continent, and the family affairs will be fully handed over to you. Seeing this, Meteor knew not to continue talking, otherwise she might face being expelled from the family. And the reason why these people appear here may be because of that person. Chopard also echoed. This phenomenon naturally attracted the attention of everyone in the family. These few anomalies hide a huge pusher. Why didn't they come out earlier and waited until now? Time flies by, half a year flies by. If that's the case, Why don't you take the initiative to surrender and protect yourself? Xiao Xian shook his head lightly. There is no room to wait for this matter. Yes, if we continue at this rate, it will be just around the corner for the head of the family to become a legendary saint. However, this phenomenon made the family's chief wine elder feel worried. Several people gathered together in private and couldn't help but discuss it. Instead of doing this, it would be better for the head of the family to surrender to those people and just be a local snake in the world. I'm afraid things are not as we see them. Several searches in the secret realm have proven that the head of the family has an inseparable connection with the prehistoric period. Reporting to the head of the family, 10,000 years ago I went to the glacier continent to look for the 10,000 years snow lotus. I once heard people there say that the one guarding the space-time totem was a monster from the mysterious immortal realm. In just half a year, the head of the family has broken through from the early stage of Earth immortality to the middle stage. This is something that ordinary people cannot achieve in a million years. At this moment, Xiao Xian's figure appeared in front of everyone. So, they are forcing the head of the family to take the initiative to go to that world. From the respectful name everyone gave Xiao Xian in the ancient world to the person who wants his life now, they seem to have no connection, but in fact they have inseparable essences. There were constant discussions in the family, all of which were filled with admiration for Xiao Xian. Xiao Xuanking's cold voice rang out, causing the 9 elders to fall into silence for a moment. Then they looked at each other and Xiao Jianfeng spoke. A terrifying momentum erupted from the back mountain, causing the sky to tremble. After a pause, he said again, if the head of the family wants to go find the space-time totem, it is not too late to break through to the celestial immortal realm first. Now that the master of the family is getting stronger and stronger, his breakthrough speed is also unreachable by ordinary people. I'm afraid it will make those people even more afraid. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 326. Master, I have something to tell you. Xiao Jianfeng's righteous words made Xiao Xian sigh slightly in his heart. This old man who has been with him since he was a child is now half an age. Even if he could help him continue to practice and break through the realm, he could not reverse the fact that he was about to face death. Therefore, he knew what Xiao Jianfeng was going to say, but still chose to let him continue. Speak, he then sat down at the head of the hall. Upon seeing this, Xiao Jianfeng took a step forward and then knelt at his feet. The 8 elders behind him also knelt down, with a look of death written all over their faces. The old slave begs the master to give up going to the glacier continent and stay in the family. As soon as he said this, the 8 elders behind him also shouted in unison. The old slave begs the master to give up going to the glacier continent and stay in the family. Xiao Xian looked at them with an indifferent expression, and a cold voice slowly sounded, reason. Xiao Jianfeng took a deep breath, and then spoke again, Master, with your current strength, even if you find the space-time totem, if you go to another world, it is impossible to survive in that world. With their methods, killing you is like squeezing an ant to death. So, is this the reason? There was a hint of coldness in Xiao Xian's cold voice. He stood up slowly and looked at the 9 elders in front of him. In the end, he said nothing, just pretend that what happened today has never happened. Just step back. However, how could the 9 elders be willing to stop Xiao Xian from going to the glacier continent, even if they risked their lives? Master, think twice. If you can save your life by not going to the glacier continent, why not choose to surrender temporarily? As long as you stay alive, you will have the opportunity to make a comeback. Why should you cling to this moment? Xiao Jianfeng even looked directly into Xiao Xian's eyes regardless of dignity and etiquette. As long as Xiao Xian is left in the heavens today, he will not hesitate even if he loses his old life. Xiao Xian was filled with anger, but after seeing the look of death in Xiao Jianfeng's eyes, he finally suppressed his anger. Elder Xiao Jianfeng, let me ask you a few questions, and you can just answer them. Xiao Jianfeng was overjoyed when he heard this, knowing that Xiao Xian had a chance to ask him like this. Master, please speak. Do you still remember the scene of the vast world? Xiao Xian suddenly changed the topic and Xiao Jianfeng suddenly didn't know what to answer. Then he thought about it carefully and answered truthfully. Although life is hard and there are enemies chasing after me, there is hope. Then do you still remember what you said when you took me to escape after my father died? Unforgettable. When Xiao Jianfeng said this, a trace of killing intent flashed in his eyes, even though their enemy had been dead for tens of millions of years. He couldn't erase the hatred that remained in Xiao Jianfeng's heart. The old slave told the master that no matter how powerful the enemy is, he cannot be afraid. Instead, use this as the driving force for your own growth, so that you can continue to push yourself on the road of growth. As soon as these words came out, Xiao Jianfeng knew why Xiao Xian asked him about the vast world at this moment. Seeing this, Xiao Xian didn't say much, just looked at the people in front of him quietly. After a moment of silence, Xiao Jianfeng took a step forward. Old slave, help the master of the family break through the mystery in the womb as soon as possible and fulfill his long-cherished wish in the previous life. As soon as this statement came out, the other 8 elders also agreed, even if they were reluctant to give up. Old slave, help the master of the family break through the mystery of the womb as soon as possible and fulfill the long-cherished wish of the previous life. The glacier continent is a rare independent plate in the world. It not only has magnificent mountains and rivers. However, due to the existence of a half-step golden immortal in the Ye family, they did not dare to provoke him easily and only dared to compete secretly. After Xiao Xian broke through to the high stage of the earthly immortal realm, he embarked on a journey to the glacier continent. There is a treasure from the ancient times in this year's auction. Although it is a broken piece, it is also a treasure that major families are competing for. Although it was a question, it revealed a strong murderous intent. Although his cultivation speed is constantly accelerating now, it is not enough. If he wants to have enough ability to fight against the people of that period, he must break through the mystery in the womb. After a pause, he continued. Originally, the spiritual stones from Zushan continent were not worth much in Glacier continent, but because of Xiao Xian's feat of shaking the sky with one sword. In other words, the 200,000 spiritual stones tied to Xiao Xian's body can be exchanged for 2 million spiritual crystals. My lord, please don't misunderstand me. It's just that we have always used spiritual crystals here. Spiritual stones are not available here. You can go to the auction to exchange for the same amount of spiritual crystals. There are many schools of various sects here, except for the serious shortage of alchemists, everything else is available. The cultivators here have also reached various realms, and there are even powerful people like Golden Immortal living here. After listening to the boy's introduction, Xiao Xian gave the crystal stone in his hand to the other party. Seeing the other party's hesitant look, he thought it was too little. Wang Shu's look back before leaving kept reappearing in Xiao Xian's mind. He knew that the time to wait for him was running out. When he saw that Xiao Xian was about to add the number of warnings, the boy quickly stopped him and said, "This is your first time coming to Glacier Continent. Among them, the Ye family is one of the best. Not only does it have a famous alchemist in charge, but it also founded the Alchemist Mansion. There is no other reason than too much money." Xiao Xian did not expect that the Glacier Continent actually contained treasures from the prehistoric era, so he had the idea to go and check it out. When they looked up again, Xiao Xian had disappeared from sight. Only 3 factions in the entire Glacier Continent have alchemists, namely Chen, Lu and the Ye family of the Alchemist House. This scene naturally attracted the attention of countless people, and when they heard that Xiao Xian was here to bid for a treasure from the ancient times, it aroused even more excitement. It is said that the head of the Chen family found it in the extremely cold area of the glacier continent, and it still contains a trace of the power of fire. Seeing that Xiao Xian neither nodded nor shook his head, he knew that he had guessed correctly. Third-grade elixirs are rare, fourth-grade elixirs are even rarer, and fifth-grade elixirs are the object of competition across the entire glacier continent. Asking in the Valley of Swords. The main sources of elixirs are all obtained from auctions, and the common elixirs are all second grade. Later, under the leadership of the young man, Xiao Xian not only exchanged a large amount of spiritual crystals, but also gained the attention of the entire auction. When Xiao Xian heard this, he frowned slightly, sit down and raise the price. Looking at your extraordinary appearance, you must be attending this auction, right? He asked tentatively at first. Coupled with his majestic appearance, he knew that this person must be the son of a wealthy family, so his tone of voice also changed accordingly. This is all the news that Xiao Xian learned within a quarter of an hour after arriving in Glacier Continent. Finally, after several years, we arrived at the Glacier Continent. Not only did it make the swordsmen of Zushan Continent famous, but even the spiritual crystals increased tenfold. Accept all talents who want to learn alchemy from society, but this will also violate the interests of the Chen and Lu families. The young man was also a good person. Although he could not see a trace of a cultivator's breath on Xiao Xian's body, he could not detect his cultivation realm. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 327. It has also become a thorn in the eyes of many people. There is no treasure from the ancient times that can be found in the entire universe. Not to mention it is a piece of treasure that contains the power of fire, even though it is an incomplete piece. But in the glacier continent, it is an excellent magic weapon to keep out the cold. Just him. A dandy. I'm afraid someone will take it away before I even get out of the door. Boy, I advise you not to participate in the bidding, so as not to cause death. Boy, do you know how many powerful people are participating in the bidding for this treasure? Even the powerful earth immortals are included. If you were a cultivator, you would be forgiven, but you are just a mortal. Are you bidding on this treasure just for collection? If you ask me, just go back and marry a wife and have children to continue the family line. This is not a place for you to play. As soon as this statement came out, the audience burst into laughter. There was even a prostitute who threw an olive branch to him, and the pungent smell of powder gradually gave off a chill on Xiao Xian's body. The people who had been observing in the attic followed the sound and saw that the young man in front of them was very majestic and exuded an aura of calm and self-power. What's even more strange is his unmeasurable cultivation. Anyone who has seen strong winds and waves will naturally know that Xiao Xian is deliberately hiding his information. The people who come here are guests. They are all destined to bid here today. As for whose family the treasure ends up with, it's not all about who has more money. I saw a red silk ribbon falling from the sky and tightly wrapped around a pillar. A wisp of soul-taking incense instantly spread across the entire venue, causing everyone to cheer and applaud. Xiao Xian looked up, and what came into view was a beautiful face that could confuse people's hearts. Under Yuande, there is a pair of seductive eyes, as charming as silk, a sweet smile, and flaming red lips full of a strong sense of charm. The graceful figure is endlessly hot, and the water snake waist is full of water, which is the object of countless men's thoughts day and night. The waist behind you seems to be able to hold your thumb after a heavy rain, which makes people endlessly daydream. When he saw her first impression, Xiao Xian only had 4 words in his mind. Disaster for the country and the people. The woman appeared in front of Xiao Xian in full view of everyone, and then bowed slightly. Master, please follow my daughter's side. Xiao Xian was not polite and followed her to the attic on the second floor. Along the way, Xiao Xian also roughly understood how the seats were distributed at the auction. The auction is divided into 3 floors. The largest number of people gathered on the first floor are ordinary people. There are several rooms on the second floor, each with a screen so that no one can see what's going on inside. There is only one window on the third floor that can see the auction site. It can be seen that the people on it are the best people in Glacier Continent. At the corner of the second floor, Xiao Xian found a stubborn stone with an unattractive appearance. At first glance, it looked like a broken stone. But the location where it is placed is the most conspicuous place in the entire auction. Then use the exploratory eyes to check the detailed information of this stubborn stone. The sky-mending stone. The sky-mending stone left by Nuwa to mend the sky contains 1/10 of the spiritual energy of the body after development. It can be used to refine the best weapons. Xiao Xian's eyes flashed slightly. There was actually a sky-repairing stone from Nuwa during the prehistoric period. It seems there is more to this glacial continent than what it seems. This is just a stubborn stone. Could it be that you want to buy it? If you like it, I can give you something better. The woman couldn't help but joke when she saw Xiao Xian staring intently at the stubborn stone at the entrance. Since it's a stubborn stone, why don't you give it to me? Xiao Xian looked at her with a half-smile. The sudden rhetorical question made the woman choke, and then she explained, "Wouldn't it be insulting to my grace to give away a stubborn stone? Since you like it, I will give it to you, but there is only one condition: don't say that this girl gave it to you. This is 50,000 spiritual crystals. I bought it." When the woman saw this, she thought Xiao Xian was out of his mind. She had been storing this stubborn stone here since she took over the auction venue. Apart from the unique shape, there is no other function at all. But then I thought, since this person is willing to bid for it, it will just be left here to collect dust anyway, so it is better to earn some spiritual crystals. Deal. So he accepted it very readily. Then he walked Xiao Xian to the private room in the attic on the third floor. There were rich second-generation people who were stupid and had a lot of money. They could spend a lot of money to buy inferior things with just a few words. But Xiao Xian was different. There was no need to fool him at all, and he was given more money. Here, there are only 2 types of people that can be treated differently. One is the super powerful, and the other is the super rich. She can't afford to offend the former, so she has to support her. The latter is her parents who provide her with food and clothing, so she has to hold her up to the sky. Therefore, she sent all these parents to the third floor, euphemistically called privacy protection. In fact, it is to prevent people from knowing that the people sitting inside are stupid rich second-generation people who have a lot of money and are easy to fool. If someone takes her away, how can she make money? Master Xiao, please go upstairs and be careful of the steps. The woman's attitude suddenly changed 180 degrees, and Xiao Xian thought she had guessed his identity. And he didn't reveal the slightest sign about himself, so he also showed a hint of appreciation for this person. Mr. Xiao, please sit inside. This is a private room prepared for you. A maid will refill your tea later. Xiao Xian nodded. After a while, 4 or 5 women dressed as maids came forward. After pouring tea and water, they handed Xiao Xian a piece of paper. It said Tianzi number 1, Xiao Xian glanced at it briefly and put it aside. However, he soon realized something was wrong. When the auction started, they were all low-grade magic weapons and weapons. Logically speaking, these were items that would be beneficial for ordinary people to bid for. But he seemed to hear the person next door cheering and taking pictures of it, and his words even revealed the admiration of a certain woman. So he didn't take it to heart. When the auction reached the middle stage, Xiao Xian smiled. He was not smiling because he was happy, but because he was angry at the auction director. Since he came to this world, no one has ever provided him with food and clothing. She is the first. When the auction reached the last few treasures, there was no movement at all next door, as if it had fallen into a deep sleep. Okay. Very good, Xiao Xian said, almost gnashing his teeth, and the teacup in his hand turned into ashes in an instant. At the same time, the auction was in full swing. The magic weapon we are going to use next is a third-grade elixir refined from 10,000-year-old snow lotus that our president brought from the glacier continent. It has beauty and beauty effects and can help users regain their youthful appearance after taking it. The disadvantage is that it needs to be taken regularly every 3 months. The bidding price is 10,000 spiritual crystals. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 328. 50,000 spiritual crystals. An unattractive, even ugly woman bid for her at a high price, completely cutting off other people from wanting to bid. Generally, those who come to bid for treasures only bring a limited number of spiritual crystals with them. It's not that they can't afford to bid, but if there is something more exciting later but there is no spiritual crystal to buy it, the gain will outweigh the loss. Therefore, many people hold back their intention to bid. Congratulations to this fairy for winning the beauty pill. The next auction will be held in 3 months. When I saw that the woman was completely transformed after taking this pill, all the women present regretted that they had to wait 3 months before bidding for this elixir. That ugly girl is really cheap. If I could have her, I would be more beautiful than her. If I had known it had such a miraculous effect, I shouldn't have given up. Anyway, the last treasure has no effect on me. All the women present looked at the woman, wanting to take out the elixir from her body. Next comes our finale treasure. This treasure is called the Heavenly Fire Pillar. It is a treasure that has been preserved to this day from the ancient times. At its peak, there were 8 pillars more than 3 feet long when deployed. According to the Bagua position, 49 fire dragons appeared in each pillar, spitting flames and with great power. Although what we have found now is just a broken product, it still contains a trace of aura from the ancient times. If it can be used properly, even 8th level weapons cannot defeat it, and the power of flames can dispel the severe cold within dozens of feet. The bidding price is 500,000 spiritual crystals. As soon as this statement came out, countless people immediately became excited. 5 million spiritual crystals. How can we afford this? I'm afraid even those rich and powerful nobles will stop. Such a powerful magic weapon, even if it costs me everything, I will still take it. 600,000 spiritual crystals. Although the magic weapon is good, it does not have enough strength. It is just a cause of trouble and burns the body. Today, this treasure has no chance with me. Amidst the arguments among countless people, Xiao Xian's probing eyes also fell on it. Tongtian Divine Fire Pillar, explain and teach Yunzong's self-control. Although it is not an innate spiritual treasure, it is extremely powerful. It even burned the great Shang Taishi Wenzhong to death in Zhuilong Ridge. It turned out to be his weapon. Although it is not as good as the innate spiritual treasure, it is already outstanding compared to these treasures today. Xiao Xian stood with his hands behind his back, his indifferent eyes falling on the treasure. If he were allowed to forge it properly, even if this treasure could not return to its prime, it would still be comparable to a 9th level magic weapon. But it was too troublesome, and he didn't have any use for it. 2 million spiritual crystals. At this time, a clear female voice attracted the attention of everyone in the audience, who followed the sound. She was a young girl standing opposite him. She was pretty and lovely, and looked extremely well behaved. She was liked by her elders, but her peach blossom eyes were full of heart. As soon as this statement came out, everyone present screamed in surprise. It's Miss Yes family. Why is she here to bid? Miss Yes family is famous for her wooden jars. Could it be that he wants to burn himself when he bids for this treasure? It's so enlightening. This person's words immediately caused a roar of laughter. The young lady from the Ye family seemed unable to understand the meaning behind the words. Her face was full of admiration for how smart you are. Yes, if you burn it with fire, your brain will become smarter. Just like you, your brain is full of water and it will come out after you fall. What's in your head is water. This young master is so charming and suave, and is a rare and talented son in the glacier continent. How can you compare to me? The young lady from the Ye family nodded thoughtfully. Yes, my father is a half-step golden immortal, and your father is just an immortal. There is really no comparison between one stepping on someone's feet and the other being stepped on. I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing. The last person to open the treasure is our number one man. He is as stubborn as a stone. Make a deal. Mr. Xiao, do you want to buy some other hard stones? After all, I don't have many hard stones here. First time with 2 million spiritual crystals. 2 million spiritual crystals for the second time. The corner of the woman's mouth couldn't help but twitch, but what made her even more stunned was what was behind. If I guess correctly, Tianzi number 1 should be the mortal with no cultivation. Just when Miss Ye raised her chin proudly, she happened to meet Xiao Xian's half-smiling gaze. But if you can recognize your own strength, you are not too stupid. At least there is room for salvation. 2 million spiritual crystals for the third time. What? It's him. No wonder. I can't figure out the mystery inside. No wonder I bought it. That is the least valuable thing in the entire auction. No matter how bad your vision is, you can't buy this piece. Xiao Xian looked at her with a half-smile but not a smile. Indeed, it takes tens of millions of years to find one piece. Even the previous president didn't know what was inside, but you are really discerning, otherwise it would have been left in the dust by me. That stubborn rock is actually invulnerable. Knowing that he had been discovered, he stopped pretending and glared at him fiercely, then pulled down the curtain. Amid the roar of laughter from everyone, the man left in embarrassment. The divine fire pillar belongs to Miss Ye family. Congratulations to Miss Ye family for obtaining the ancient treasure. Xiao Xian nodded. You are right, although this stubborn stone is not a great treasure, it is still a rare treasure. Before she even reached the door with her water snake-like walking posture, she realized that her worries were completely unnecessary. As soon as the statement came out, it immediately attracted the sighs of countless people. I have never seen anyone so stupid before. I can only vent my anger on the attendant beside me. What are you looking at? Why don't you go back? The next step is our treasure opening. The first one to open the treasure is Master Duanmu Yun of the Duanmu family, who opened a third-grade jadeite. The man was choked and couldn't say a word, but he didn't dare to offend her. So she sat next to him and continued to seduce. Young master may not know this when you come here for the first time, but this stubborn stone has been stored here since I took it over. The guy in front of her was so confident in herself that even she couldn't help but twitching speechlessly. After all, she has the right to return any treasure that has not been consecrated. Who wants to open that stubborn rock? For a time, the ridicule from the entire auction scene continued to reach Xiao Xian's eardrums. Young master, please don't listen to their nonsense. Although you have no cultivation level, it doesn't mean that you can't develop heaven-level treasures. It's good to be rich. You can spend 50,000 spirit crystals to buy a piece of broken stone. Even the president of the auction came personally to appease Xiao Xian's emotions, fearing that the man in front of him would return the goods if he was unhappy. When the woman heard this, she knew that the person in front of her was completely crazy. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 329. Seeing this scene, the woman couldn't help but stood up in surprise. These treasures of mine are all made of black ice, a piece of stubborn stone. Then she looked at Xiaoxian in astonishment, with a lot of thoughts in her mind. I muttered in my heart, could it be that this is really some kind of treasure? That stubborn stone was transformed by the Nuwa stone, and even the magic weapon refined from 10,000 years of black iron had to be refined with the true fire of samadhi to split it open. Not to mention ordinary black iron. At this moment, the voice of the young lady from the family opposite came slowly. My father once said that all the stubborn rocks in the world can be split easily except the Nuwa stone from the ancient times. As soon as this statement came out, there was an uproar at the scene. Nuwa stone. This is a powerful person from the ancient times. It is said that her cultivation level has surpassed that of a saint. If that's the case, doesn't it mean there's no way to unlock the treasure? Just when everyone was talking about it, the Miss Ye family spoke again. No, you only need to use Samadhi True Fire and Wanyan Xianbing at the same time to mine the true appearance. There is no such thing as Samadhi True Fire in the world now, but the heaven-bearing divine fire pillar is a treasure from the ancient times. Maybe you can give it a try. Well, I will lend you the heaven-reaching divine fire pillar for your use, just to see what the Nuwa stone looks like. I have never seen it before. As soon as Miss Ye's words came out, not only everyone present, but even Xiaoxian was a little surprised. This woman actually knows the true fire of Samadhi. This glacier continent is really crouching tiger, hidden dragon. Seeing this, the president of the auction asked his men to take out the artifact forged from 10,000 years of black ice that she had collected. Under the spotlight, the stubborn stones on the surface of Nuwa stone were completely removed. A stream of colorful light emitted instantly, and a crystal clear multicolored stone appeared in front of his eyes. After seeing this stream of light, Zhongren showed greedy expressions. If I had known the origin of this stubborn stone, I should have bought it. This brat is really cheap. This treasure is not bad, it is more than enough for me. Boy, since ancient times, treasures have been kept by the virtuous. I think you should hand over the treasure to avoid being killed. For a while, the entire venue was buzzing with discussion, and one could even feel a faint hint of murderous intent. Even the president of the auction house was so surprised that he couldn't speak for a while. After a long time, he turned to look at Xiaoxian dully. I never thought that young Master Xiao would have such a keen eye at such a young age. He is nothing like me. He can't even see the treasure right in front of his eyes. Xiaoxian sneered, that's right. The woman took a mouthful of ashes and chuckled, young Master Xiao is really not humble at all. Then he smiled and said, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Mei Mei, and I am the president here. If you have any treasures, elixirs, etc. that you want to auction, you can come to me. After all, ordinary people carry treasures in their bodies, but it is an item that can lead to death. Xiaoxian seemed unable to understand the meaning of the words, so he took over the Nuwa stone and turned to leave. This scene aroused the interest of Miss Ye's family, and she shouted, stop. I want your Nuwa, Miss Shivan. Make a price. However, Xiaoxian acted as if he didn't hear anything and walked straight towards the door. The Miss Ye family directly blocked Xiaoxian's path, raised her chin and said, have you ever heard of the saying that a man is not guilty but he is guilty of carrying a jade? Although you have opened a heaven-level treasure, you have no ability to protect it, and it will only lead to death. Rather than being cheated and killed, it is better to sell it to this girl. Then let them try. Xiaoxian looked at the woman in front of him with an indifferent expression. This scene moved her very much. She was obviously just an ordinary person, but she was not afraid of death. It was really interesting. Not only did he lose his money, he also lost his family's face. How could he bear this bad breath? Then he hurriedly turned around and fled, but as soon as the sword energy came out, he stopped only when he saw blood. But since the other party was the son of the Chen family, he didn't say much. As soon as these words came out, everyone knew what they meant. Disappearing together with her figure were several strong men in the early stages of the immortal realm. Now that you know we are here, hand over the treasure quickly. Xiao Xian looked at them indifferently. A mere immortal dares to be so presumptuous in front of me, seeking death. Boy, you are deliberately trying to make me look bad. He happened to bump into Xiao Xian, who had no background but mined heaven-level treasures, and the imbalance in his heart became even stronger. But the person involved looked at Xiao Xian calmly and looked at him with admiration. My name is Yeshu, I am the eldest lady of the Ye family. What is your name? However, Xiao Xian didn't even look at her and walked straight towards the door. Everyone followed the sound and found that it was Chen Bassian, the young master of the Chen family. Just before opening the treasure, he spent a total of 500,000 taels of spiritual crystals to buy a colorful stone. Snow is falling all over the sky, covered in silver, and there is no end in sight. Since ancient times, treasures have been kept by those who are able. As a martial artist, there is no use keeping them. Why not leave them to us? Chen Bassian had spent hundreds of thousands of spiritual crystals mining a piece of waste rock, and he had nowhere to vent the overwhelming anger in his heart. And they are also happy to watch a lively drama. The next moment, a punch of power fell from the sky and came towards Xiao Xian's Mingmen. Xiao Xian, on the other hand, stretched out his hand with an indifferent expression and wiped the non-existent dust on it. When everyone saw this, they all looked incredulously. Then he hurried away with the help of his men, but when he reached the door, he tripped. There is no spiritual energy fluctuation in this guy's body because he practices the art of the physical body. It's no wonder. There is no one here anymore, come out, Xiao Xian paused and said coldly to the people following him. However, before she could say anything, a sound of disgust came from the venue. Xiao Xian used the probing eye to check all the information, but got a disappointing result. Just wait. I won't let you go. I saw a blood mist sweeping across the sky, and the bodies of the three immortals fell straight down. The next moment, a flash of eyes flashed, and a sharp sword swept across. The result was a low-level spiritual stone, the kind that no one would want even if it were placed at a roadside stall. Just when everyone thought Xiao Xian was bound to die, Chen Bassian's body suddenly flew backwards. Xiao Xian looked at the corpses of the people in front of him indifferently, searched them for valuable magic weapons, and then headed towards the glacier continent. I wanted to take this opportunity to kill him and seize the treasure in his hand to cover up my behavior. Who would have thought that Xiao Xian would kill him instead? When several people saw this, they stopped hiding and blocked all Xiao Xian's retreat routes. Maybe we can consider keeping your body intact. Not only did he lose his front teeth, but he also broke 2 ribs. Seeing this, the expressions of the three immortals changed greatly, and they exclaimed, "Half-step immortal. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors." Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 330. Glacier Continent. The space-time totem needs to appear randomly at a specific time. The fastest one will be 3 months later. Entering it requires a special medium. After reading the introduction of the system, Xiao Xian's eyes suddenly turned cold. The past 3 months had gone by in the blink of an eye for him, but now it had become so long. But he also knows that there is nothing he can do about things that even the system can't do anything about. So he turned around and headed towards the capital. However, at this moment, streaks of colorful auspicious light continued to appear in the sky. But the core of the entire glacier continent is covered with white snow, and ordinary streamers cannot be seen here at all. Even the aurora is a rare thing here, let alone such a strange phenomenon. When something goes wrong, there must be a monster. Looking for the direction of the light, I walked forward and came to a cave. If you don't look carefully, you won't be able to discover the existence of this cave. That colorful stream of light came from this cave. Looking down from the sky, it looks like a volcanic vent. At this time, the stream of light above the sky gradually turned into dark black, and there was a faint smell of corrosion. All the ice and snow within a radius of 100 miles was corroded at this moment. Xiao Xian used the 9-turn golden body to resist the corrosion. Such a strange phenomenon made Xiao Xian suspicious, so he walked towards the cave. As soon as they approached the cave, a roar of monsters came from inside. Logically speaking, the monster guarding the cave is either the incarnation of the snow monster, or it is already a more powerful existence, just like the monster beast guarding the space-time totem. Walking slowly inside, a putrid smell hit my nose. There were rotten corpses infested with maggots standing at the entrance of the cave. Although this is not the extremely cold area of the glacier continent, there is no possibility of corpses rotting here. The bodies of these corpses are still flowing with blood, and even the snow on the ground has not dried up yet. Looking like this, it was attracted by the stream of light just now, but it did not escape the corrosion of the poisonous gas. Xiao Xian squatted down and took a closer look. There were messy footprints on the ground going deeper. Follow the direction of the footprints and pass through 2 winding channels before arriving at the deeper world. What came into view was a strange picture. There are dozens of stone statues standing in the cave, and each stone statue has a huge hole in its body. And there was a long stick stuck in it. Xiao Xian had only seen this kind of scene in ancient books. It was a unique nation in ancient times, called Guanxiang country. I still remember what is written in the ancient books. The country of Guanxiang is in the east of it, and it is a man of great talent. It is said that it is in the east of the country. The country back then was already destroyed after that immeasurable catastrophe. Why are there still relics here? There was a trace of doubt on Xiao Xian's cold face. His eyes searched the statue, and finally he discovered something strange. Stone statues, and temperature. It's like a person who has just died, with only a little bit of warmth left in his body. Even Xiao Xian was surprised by this touch. No matter which angle you explain it from, there is no way that there is still any temperature left. Roar. The roar of beasts came from deeper in the cave, and Xiao Xian stepped forward quickly. The traces of fighting on the ground are getting deeper and deeper, and the smell of blood that hits your nostrils makes people feel ripples in their hearts. After passing through the last cave, I was shocked to find that there were corpses everywhere inside. There are countless bodies with broken limbs and broken bones that cannot be pieced together. A huge black-brown bear was beating its chest crazily, with a broken arm hanging from the corner of its mouth. Blood was flowing down the hair at the corner of the mouth. At a glance, it was wet and disgusting. Earthly immortal realm, Xiao Xian said in surprise. The brown bear in front of me only has a lifespan of 100 years, but it has the cultivation level of an early Earth immortal. The speed of human cultivation is already the fastest in the entire world, and it will take millions of years to cultivate to the level of an Earth immortal. What's more, for monsters, if you want to practice cultivation, you not only have to face the shackles of heaven, but you also need to experience more heavenly tribulations than humans. It is really abnormal to be able to cultivate to the earthly immortal realm within 100 years of life. When the brown bear saw Xiao Xian appear, it opened its bloody mouth and roared to the sky, then jumped up and pounced on Xiao Xian. A huge putrid smell erupted from its mouth, and even Xiao Xian couldn't avoid it. When the brown bear saw this, it thought that Xiao Xian was frightened by him, so it laughed out loud. These strange phenomena made even the well-informed Xiao Xian frown. 100-year-old demon beast not only has the cultivation of the earthly fairyland, but also has spiritual intelligence. If something goes wrong, there must be a demon. The coldness in Xiao Xian's eyes was even darker. Looking at the entire glacier continent, there was only this place. Since there is such a big adventure, why don't people from the outside come to explore it? It seems that this place only appeared recently. In order to find out the main reason for all this, Xiao Xian used the ice knife in the cave as a sword. A sword flew across the air, and the terrifying sword power instantly caused a riot, causing the entire Shandong to tremble. Seeing that he was no match, the brown bear sucked all the corpses behind him forward as a shield for his face. However, Xiao Xian sneered, and his sword shot was flawless. The next moment, the black and brown bear's body fell heavily to the ground, no longer alive. Surprisingly, the brown bear carcass disappeared instantly. A solemn expression appeared on Xiao Xian's cold face. Why do corpses in the outside world rot and grow maggots, but the ones inside remain incorruptible? And this monster that disappeared out of thin air, is there another mystery behind it? Then he walked to the place where the black bear disappeared, squatted down, and felt the ground with his hands. Temperature. A temperature that is not hot but can burn the soul, Xiao Xian said in surprise. He carefully recalled the various visions that occurred after entering the cave. The outside world is extremely cold, but the fresh corpses are all rotten and full of maggots. The temperature inside the cave was like a hot summer day, but the body was shriveled up. Not only did it show no signs of decay. Some of the corpses were complete and even lifelike, and the space seemed to have been changed. Following the cave, we finally reached the end. On both sides of the cave, there are green flowers, grass, and trees, but in the middle of the cave, the grass is withered and nothing grows. In a small space, 3 scenes appeared. There is a skeleton directly in front, holding a wooden box in his arms, with an hourglass placed on top of the box. But it flows from bottom to top, as if it is not affected by gravity. Xiao Xian took the hourglass into his hand without thinking and took a closer look. There is a deed-shaped text written on it, "Time is the best tool to play tricks on people." It seems that all the strange phenomena in this cave are caused by you, Xiao Xian said, his hand already reaching for the wooden box. A joking voice came, "Hey, I knew you would do this, alas, you won't change your ways."